happy to be here with my brothers on Blog, ready to get to it, and I'm so excited about this show. You pay yourself a professional athlete, and you get paid to catch the ball and can't. Like, that just makes no sense to me.
Biggest takeaway is that if you are a West Coast team, take your behind to the East Coast 2 days beforehand so you can at least get 1 day acclimated to the time difference.
The effort they put up against the Warriors, lethargic, pitiful. We won't give too many more words to it, so we're going to move on.
And here we go.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, the Big Game Christian Sports Network proudly presents Donnie Epting, Dwayne Sutton, and Willie Epting. And they are in the zone.
Hello there, and welcome to the In the Zone Sports Show here on the one, the only Big Game Christian Sports Network. And we want to tell you that this opening segment of the In the Zone Sports Show is being brought to you by Drain and Plumbing Services. When plumbing issues arise, don't just call a plumber. Call the master plumber. Call Ken Richardson at 214-317-7881. Call him today for a quick estimate. I am the Captain Donnie Epting. We welcome you to the In the Zone Sports Show. Let's go ahead and introduce my boys, my knuckleheads. Let's start off with Dwayne Sutton. Dwayne, what's going on?
Wow, what's happening, world? What's happening? Coming straight to you from the 985, representing the 504, and always hometown 601. What's happening, my brothers? I'm glad to be here. Let's get to work.
Okay, so there was a 211 on the 985 and the 504 by way.
Somebody get Nate Dogg. Somebody get Nate Dogg. God bless him. All right.
Willie Epting Jr. out there in Tejas, also known as Texas. What's going on with you, sir?
What's happening, world? Donnie, Dwayne, what's going on?
I can tell what's going on in your world is enunciation. Man, did you hear that world? Duh. Stay off the weed. Duh.
Every letter is important.
Important. Wow. It's good
not every letter is important because some letters are silent in some words.
All letters matter.
Can we get the word, please?
With that being said, let's go, man. Let's get to work. Let's do this.
Here we go.
We're going to start off with a topic that we're going to call Citizen Colin. Play on words a little bit. Let's see, what day was that? Friday. Not the Friday here before the weekend as our show is airing, but the last Friday, the 49ers played the Green Bay Packers in an NFL preseason football game. Here's the part that kind of matters to some. Colin Kaepernick, San Francisco 49ers quarterback, sat during the national anthem. Okay, before we move on, before we finish up, Colin Kaepernick also sat during the national anthem in the Niners' previous 2 preseason games in which he didn't play. This time he suited up, he played, and he sat. And somebody with a camera from what seemed to be on top of an airplane flying over the San Jose airport caught Kaepernick sitting there, and Twitter and Facebook and the internet went nuts. And you've had all kinds of backlash and all kinds of words being hurled at Colin Kaepernick for him not standing during the national anthem. And the NFL weighed in and said it's encouraged, but it's not required. Basically, no harm, no foul, no punishment. But in the public eye, Mr. Kaepernick has faced a lot of scrutiny for this. Kaepernick went on to say in a statement to Steve Weish of NFL Network that he is not happy with the way minorities have been treated in this country, especially by those of law enforcement. And he went on to say in so many words that he's not standing to salute a flag that represents a country who's not treating minorities properly. Guys, let's get your thoughts in on this. It's been a hot button topic for well over a week now. We're gonna flip the coin and start with the elder statesman of the End Zone team. We're gonna go with Willie Epting Jr. Let's get your first word on the backlash that Kaepernick has faced, and even maybe the support that he's gotten. We'll start with you, Willie.
I mean, do we really believe that he was not going to receive any sort of backlash or any sort of scrutiny or any type of criticism for this? I think not. Now, let's remember, Colin Kaepernick is half African American and half Caucasian American. That does not seem to have much of an impact or is a big topic of the discussion in the fact that he's half white, half black. So they're focusing in on the black half of him instead of the white half of him, which I think is kind of ironic, but that's probably another story for another day. Now, he has come out and done this. Can you really fault him for standing up for what he believes in? I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean that I agree or disagree with what he's doing. I just applaud the young man for standing up for what he thinks is right in his eyes. I'm not a judge. I'm not going to be a judge or judgmental to say that he needs to find some other way to show his discord or whatnot or his discontent. No one is in a position in which they can do that. And those that are saying what he should do, maybe they need to possibly put themselves in his shoes if they possibly can. Even if they can't, then there's something else I'm sure out there in their own lives that may not be the same sort of situation as this is, but something nonetheless that they feel that's near and dear to their heart. Now, is the backlash warranted? I don't think the backlash is warranted because of what he's standing up for, but in so much in the way that he's doing it. And until he becomes a part of the solution for mainstream America to, I guess, for the lack of a better word, side with, then there's going to be continued backlash. Now, I heard Kareem Abdul-Jabbar say something very interesting about Colin Kaepernick. And it wasn't to the fact that he is applauding what he's doing, because we all know Kareem was at the forefront of these types of things back in the 60s with the late, great Muhammad Ali. But something that he said makes total and perfect sense is that he should find a way to become a part of the solution and not so much it being focused on what the problem is. And something that he said he should think about doing is becoming a bridge between the African American community, or by that minorities and all for that matter, be a bridge between the minorities and the police or somebody in government, so they can sit down and start talking some of these things out, and maybe some headway can be made. I don't think the criticism is all the way fair. I think people are just mad because it's drawing attention, and it may be a distraction to something that they don't want to something to be. They don't want something to. They don't want light to be shed on this, in which we all know it needs to be done, and it needs to be done in a hurry. So, at the end of the day, I applaud the young man. I support him.
All right, Dwayne Sutton, you're up.
We ever heard the saying, don't shoot the messenger, I'm just here to deliver a message? We're so busy trying to shoot the messenger. I'm saying we as a whole, America. We're so busy trying to attack the messenger, we're not even paying attention to what the message is and whether or not it's valid. I've witnessed Colin Kaepernick be labeled unpatriotic. I've witnessed him being told to leave by the likes of Donald Trump, amongst other American citizens, via Twitter and other social media outlets. How in the world can anybody's love for this country be questioned when the only thing that they want is for us to be better as a whole? That's all that this man is clearly saying. They attacked his profession and claimed that this was more so for attention. This is his way of trying to stay in the league, when in all actuality, I just read a report from MSN saying about 7 execs saying they're pretty sure he's out. If the 49ers let him go, nobody's taking him. They don't want him. His days in football are done. I compare this to a marriage. Between you and your spouse, if things are not going right, how do you get to the problem and resolve the problem? First things first is you have to address the problem. Now, the whole point of doing that is not because I want out. And when I do so, it's not for you to tell me to leave. If we're going to work this thing out, we're going to be proud to stand together to carry ourselves under one name. We have to point out what the problems are, and we have to address them. I have to speak from my side. You have to listen. You speak from your side. I listen. We have a constructive conversation, and we find ways to find some common ground and get this thing taken care of. Now, I don't blame him not one bit for standing up, for refusing to stand for the national anthem. In fact, it's always been a contradicting thing for me, even as a child, because it really struck me. Nothing about this national anthem represents or includes black people. If you actually go back and you pay attention to the words of Star Spangled Banner, yes. There's a part where the terms hireling and slave are used. And I can read it out to you in full, but I know due to time, I just want to go ahead and explain something real quick. They're going to say, I've read reports where they say hireling and slave is really terminology used at that time to describe the British. This was not about slaves or killing black people or black slaves or whatever. Here's where you're wrong, or you're trying to cause confusion. That was actually about black slaves. See, the problem was slaves, those who were owned, who were considered property in the United States of America, were offered their freedom if they switched and fought for the British. The author of the Star Spangled Banner did not like that. And so the national anthem was written, and in it was included death threats towards black slaves, pieces of property. They were considered British because they switched. It's no confusion in that unless you want us to be confused. So for me to sit here and tell me I have to stand and salute to something that doesn't include me or any of my people, how can you tell me I'm wrong for that? I'm unpatriotic. All I want is for things to be right. And I salute you and I support you 100%, Colin Kaepernick.
All right. Well said, fellas. We got about just over 2 minutes left in the segment, so I'll get my few words in. I talked to a friend early Monday morning before I went to work. He called and first question was, so what do you think? I said, what you talking about? He said, you know what I'm talking about. I knew what he was talking about. I just kind of had to, to mess with him a little bit. But I reiterated what I mentioned earlier about the NFL. It's not required. It's encouraged. You don't have to do it. Where is it? It's kind of like, Dwayne, you compared it to marriage. I'm going to compare it to baseball. And I know Willie can definitely give me a hallelujah on this one. Willie, how many times have we heard about the unwritten rules in baseball?
Every time we talk about it.
Exactly. So, I guess this is the unwritten rules of patriotism. You must stand during the national anthem. Says who? It ain't in the Bible. There aren't city, state, municipality laws that say you have to stand during the national anthem. Who says you got to stand? And then when things happen in this country and we want somebody to stand up and say something and do something, we want somebody to take a stand. However that person decides to take a stand, this man's now criticized. I don't believe what we've seen with this. So not even as a 49ers fan, and I'm also the guy who said Colin Kaepernick wouldn't even start for the 49ers this season. This has nothing to do with any of that. I support Colin Kaepernick for standing up for what he believes in by taking a seat. And he did it before, and the only reason it got pub this time around is because he was playing. It didn't even matter when he wasn't playing. Colin, good job. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and step out here for the break. When we come back, we'll discuss some more football when we return here on the In the Zone Sports Show on the Big Game Christian Sports Network right after this.
What if I told you you could reverse diabetes and stop taking your diabetes medication? If you or someone you care about has diabetes or pre-diabetes, there's a special free report you need to watch. You may have heard about this. It's all over the internet. 11diabetes.com. People who have followed this plan at 11diabetes.com reportedly have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes meds completely with their doctor's approval. 11diabetes.com is a natural, drug-free approach to reversing diabetes with remarkable results in as little as 4 weeks. 11diabetes.com will save you from being a slave to doctor-prescribed drugs. It's easy. 11diabetes.com gives you 3 specific actions to get your blood sugar under control. And the best part is, the main ingredient and solution is a common spice found in most kitchens. Watch the free video for yourself at 11diabetes.com. Watch for free at 11diabetes.com. Get back the quality of your life and free yourself from diabetes medications. Go to 11diabetes.com.
All right, we welcome you back here to the In the Zone Sports Show here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. This segment of the In the Zone Sports Show is being brought to you by Drain and Plumbing Services. When plumbing issues arise, don't just call a plumber. Call the master plumber. Call Ken Richardson at 214-317-7881. Call him up today for a quick estimate. All right, we're talking about Colin Kaepernick in segment 1. We're actually going to stay with the QB focus here, but instead of Colin Kaepernick's stand by sitting during the national anthem, we're now going to switch over to a couple of other quarterbacks who got hurt in their last preseason games and last action here to end the preseason. Remember, the NFL's regular season kicks off Thursday, September the 8th. It's Carolina and it's Denver in a rematch of Super Bowl 50. And this one will be out in Denver. And just a real quick side note here, fellas. The Denver Broncos have named Trevor Siemian as the starting quarterback against the Panthers. And that's all I got to say about that. We'll talk a little more NFL, especially next week, getting ready for the season. But here first, as we mentioned, let's talk about some quarterbacks injured. First up, Tony Romo, out for 6 to 10 weeks, reportedly, after suffering a broken bone in his back. Mr. Cliff Averill delivered a hit to Romo in a preseason game in Seattle when the Cowboys were playing the Seahawks, and Tony Romo went out of the game. And we found out Saturday that Romo is going to miss some time. Guess who gets to start for the Dallas Cowboys? And Willie said it a couple of shows back that there was going to be a quarterback controversy, but he was just playing. But that quarterback we were talking about is going to be the one starting. So, Willie, let's start this Cowboys discussion with you. Why should Cowboys fans put their trust in Dak Prescott?
Hey, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
Give me one real quick.
Oh,
Should they really trust him? I mean, they don't have a choice. I know they want to trust him, and I know they think they trust him from what they've seen so far. Personally, I don't think they should, because we haven't seen the kitchen sink thrown at this young man yet. Now, I don't want to take anything away from what he has accomplished so far in the preseason. Vanilla defenses, no game planning, not really going against the number ones the entire time. So what is he going to do when he's faced with that adversity? When he gets that crushing sack or that fumble from the strip of the edge from the edge rusher on the strip, when he throws that key interception, when Dez drops the ball, what's going to happen when he's faced with some adversity? That's what I need to see. Now, make no mistake about it, the former Halton, Louisiana, Mississippi State standout has looked great in the preseason, but I want to put the emphasis on, again, preseason. Now, the working parts work. He's got one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the NFL. If all of the parts are working together to include them, and if Alfred Morris is able to run the ball, and you got to think, too, man, we got a run back there in Ezekiel Elliott who has also proved nothing. You know, he's got one of the best receivers in the league in Dez, one of the greatest tight ends of all time in Jason Witten. So he's got plenty of things around him for Cowboys fans to trust him, but I need to see what he's going to do in the face of adversity.
Willie, I'm going to disagree with you on what Ezekiel Elliott has proved to this point. He has proven that he fits the mold of the Cowboys by being a trash-talking troublemaker who is enamored with drugs. Okay, my bad. I'm talking about something else. You talking serious here. My bad, folks. Anyway, Cowboys fans.
There's some truth to that, though.
Cowboys fans, I apologize. Not really. Dwayne Sutton. Let's talk about Tony Romo's future. What do you see for his future, short term and or long term? Dwayne.
Yes, short term. Tony Romo. Listen, hi, I'm an author. Got a book. It's called Life After Football. Go ahead, check it out. I'll even autograph it for you. Get you a special copy. Get you a paperback too, because you know the hardbound ones, they might break, kind of like you. So, with that being said, I think he kind of just needs to be as supportive as he can, wear his brace, do his coaching thing from the sideline, be the inspiration for Dez, stay motivated, throw up the X to him every now and then. Think he needs to call Drew Bledsoe and have a conversation with him because you've been Bledsoe, son. I do believe that this is pretty much it for him. Multiple injuries. I'm not talking about just, little ankles, pinky toes, nothing here. We're talking broken bones in your back, sir. Multiple injuries to your clavicle, collarbone. Son, you can't take too much more of these hits. You got a wife, you got children. There's life after football that you're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to face. I understand it's hard for most athletes who spend majority of their life doing the thing that they love. If you want to play golf as well, heal up, move on.
It's looking like Romo is in the same exact situation where he took the starting position from Drew Bledsoe when Drew Bledsoe was hurt many, 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 many moons ago. So it's been a rough last few seasons for Romo, but it might be time. And we'll see how the Cowboys play with Dak Prescott. They've got all the confidence in the world in them. But like Willie said, we've seen a small sample size. So it'll be interesting to see in a larger scale what Mr. Prescott can do.
And get this guy, and just real quick, Donnie, get this. Tony Romo has had 3 major surgeries in the last, 4 years. 1 on the back and 2 on the clavicle. And he also had another back surgery to have a cyst removed not that long ago. So, I don't know, man. It doesn't look good.
No, not at all. All right, so let's wow. And this one it hit me personally to see Teddy Bridgewater of the Minnesota Vikings in practice, non-contact, Bridgewater tore his ACL, dislocated his knee, and suffered structural damage. Done for the year, of course. Let's start this off with Dwayne. What chances do you give Minnesota to have a successful season without their number one QB in Teddy B?
I'm going to give them about as much space as I have between my pinky toe and my next to last toe. That's slim to none, sir. Slim to none. They're going to have to do something drastic because you're playing in what is the last of the best of Adrian Peterson's years. You can't let this season go to waste with Sean Hill as your quarterback for the season. Me, honestly, I would love to see Kaepernick get a fresh start out there, but that's just me.
But, I mean, Kaepernick in a North Turner offense, not going to happen.
I'm just saying, you never know.
Not going to happen.
That is not even close to a good fit.
Yeah, it is. No.
I'm just saying. They got to do something. You have to do something drastic. You have to go get somebody who can actually play the quarterback position for you for the entire year.
Mark Sanchez.
Play the quarterback position for you the entire year.
Colin Kaepernick. You talk about play the quarterback position. Colin Kaepernick in a North Turner offense. I want you to think about what you just said here.
You just said Mark Sanchez.
Hey.
2 words. Butt fumble.
Okay.
Mark Sanchez was in a situation where all he had to do, you had one job.
I got some
win the starting job.
I got some more words for you. 2 AFC championship games.
This is not the same situation as that.
It's not, but Colin Kaepernick
I think both of those choices are moronic, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, who would you go with?
I don't have anybody. That's just the thing.
So you saying the Vikings are just doomed?
Right.
I don't like the situation they're in. Adrian Peterson is over 30. You can't ride him the way that you once would have. This probably not the entire season. I don't care how much of a freak of nature he is. The bottom line is that he's older and you can't ride that guy like that. Now they have one of the best young wide receivers in the league in Diggs. They've got probably the best tight end that nobody talks about in Rudolph. They've got a top 5 defense. I'm thinking about what Alvin Mack said on the program. Man, now the defense is going to have to pitch shutouts for us to win. That's not going to happen in the NFL. Who they can go out and get? I mean, I heard something about either Geno Smith or Bryce Petty. Maybe even trying to get A.J. McCarron out of Cincinnati. That's not going to happen. It's just the pick of the litter is too slim.
I've even heard Sam Bradford going getting him in a trade from Philadelphia. I'm a person that thinks about fits. I think Mark Sanchez will be a decent fit with that team. You're not asking Mark Sanchez to go out there and win football games.
But in essence, North Turner's offense was going to be not really the same, but the concept of it would be the same as Gary Kubiak's. Based on the zone running scheme, some naked boots that he can run, and he couldn't even beat out a kid that only has 1 snap in the NFL, and it was a kneel down.
Wow, you went and researched. Oh, man, you're good.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But I was just saying, man. Dwayne, I think you reaching for the sentimental, let me root for this dude thing with Kaepernick.
I just think a fresh start would help. I really do. In a situation like that, man, it's become toxic out there. I mean, this guy's 2 years removed from the NFC Championship?
2 years removed from the NFC Championship and 3 years removed from a Super Bowl.
A fresh start is going to. I don't believe that talent is just wasted like that. I just think that's a toxic situation he's in now.
Colin Kaepernick's career died when Jim Harbaugh left.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he ain't coming back. And unfortunately for Colin Kaepernick, he can't go back and play college ball. So I think he's done.
I agree with you. 100%. And I'm the dude who still wanted Alex Smith to be the starter out there.
Yes, he did. He does.
I bet you wish he was a starter now.
He still does.
I still do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've never rooted for Alex Smith so hard in my life. I'm just saying. All right, let's zip up shop here on the Vikings and the injury situation all over the league, Willie. With the rash of injuries, not only for the Vikings but the rest of the teams in the league. What are your thoughts on the length of preseason as we currently have it?
I don't have a problem with it because I'm a guy that has started really rooting for the underdog, especially since, not really especially since, but, due to players like In the Zone's nephew, Michael Hunter Jr., undrafted free agent who's out there making plays. It gives him an opportunity. If he doesn't make the Giants team, at least it gives him more of an opportunity to produce more tape and maybe latch on to a different team if that happens. So I don't have a problem with it. A lot of these injuries are occurring in practice or even in OTAs. So, yeah, I don't have any issues with it.
Dwayne, quickly, what about you?
Honestly, man, it's a part of the game. It's just something you really can't run from. Like Willie said, man, the injuries are happening in practice. I mean, you have to practice. You got to keep your conditioning right. It's just, you hate to say it's a part of the game, but there's really no way you can prevent it. You can't put them in a bubble.
What about reducing the number of preseason games from 4 to 2? And you still have your practices.
But they're not going to do that without increasing the games in the regular season because the owners aren't going to give up that revenue in one place and not make it up somewhere else. That's why that's not going to happen. It's either going to stay where it is, or it's going to go down to 2, and they're going to end up playing 2 extra games in the regular season.
I don't think they'll do that. I think it could go down to 2, have all your practices, and then just play the regular season.
Yeah, but
that's money lost.
That's money lost by those owners, and they're going to stand for that.
Man, have some touch football scrimmages with your neighborhood team or whatever. I don't know, man. Shoot. Okay, just throwing stuff out there. All right, let's. We got about 2 minutes left in the segment. Let's at least get this part of the segment down before we go to number 3. Let's talk some college football. Let's go with some season predictions. Last week, or the last couple of shows, we've broken down the Power 5 conferences, looked at teams from the outside of the Power 5 who might make a run at a playoff. But let's kind of get some predictions out here for the season. Let's first go with our Heisman Trophy winners. We'll go with each of our choices, and then we'll go to the next 4 teams, or excuse me, the 4 teams that will make the CFB playoff. Heisman Trophy winner, let's start with Dwayne Sutton.
Gonna go with Mr. Watson, sir.
All right.
Watson out of Clemson.
All right. Willie Epting Jr.
Dalvin Cook, Florida State Seminoles.
I've got Deshaun Watson out of Clemson as well.
All right. But you're wrong.
Yeah. I think, well, I'll get into it a little bit later. Trust me, I'll get into it a little bit later. The 4 teams who will make the college football playoff. Willie Epting Jr., let's get your 4.
Florida State, Alabama, OU, UCLA.
Dwayne Sutton, let's get your 4 in. Just under a minute to go, by the way.
Clemson, LSU, OU. I'm going to go with UCLA. I'm going to stay with where I was at.
I don't know what it is y'all seeing at UCLA, but okay. I'm going to go with Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's schedule sets up just right for them this year to make a run at it.
They're going to lose to Texas, man.
I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to talk about the games in the first week here. We come back after the break to segment 3 here on the In the Zone Sports Show on the Big Game Christian Sports Network, and we'll be back right after this time out.
Because Wendy switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on car insurance, her vacation savings jar wants to pat her on the back. But it can't. It's a vacation savings jar. It doesn't have a palm to pat with. Even if it tried, it'd just spill change everywhere and make a mess. Switch to Geico, and every time you see the extra cash, you'll know your vacation savings jar wants to pat you on the back. But remember, it can't. It's a jar. It is, however, happy that you're saving money.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to the In the Zone Sports Show here on the official broadcast home of the Dallas Charge Pro Fast Pitch on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. This segment of the In the Zone Sports Show is being brought to you by PureFlix. Enjoy faith and family movies, TV shows, and educational programs anytime, anywhere for only $7.99 per month. Sign up for your 30-day free trial by going to bgcsports.net or on the BGC Sports app and click on the PureFlix banner and start your free trial today. All right, we are back with you. It's Dwayne, it's Willie, and I'm Donnie, and we are still discussing college football. We're going through our season predictions, and then we're going to turn around and talk about some of the things that will take place over the weekend in the Week 1 games. We left off, we've given everyone our 4 teams who will make the college football playoff. Let's just refresh the audience on those teams, fellas. Willie, your 4 teams that'll make the college football playoff.
I have UCLA. I have Florida State. I have Ohio State. And I have Alabama. Alabama.
All right, Dwayne, let's go ahead and get yours.
Clemson, LSU, UCLA, OU, Oklahoma.
All right, now I've got Clemson, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama. All right, so who's playing for the national championship and who's winning the national title? Let's start with Willie this time.
Playing for the national championship would be Clemson and Alabama. Rematch.
All right, who you got winning it?
They're going to finish the deal this year, man. I like Deshaun Watson them.
All right, Dwayne. Who's playing for the national championship and who's winning it?
That's funny. He in the South talking about some and them. It's and them, boy. One word, and them. I'm going to Clemson, LSU. And I'm picking Clemson to actually go ahead, like Willie said, and seal the deal. I think this is just Mr. Watson's year, man.
All right. I've got Oklahoma. And I've got Wofford. No, I'm kidding.
Wait. Oh!
It's like volleyball. I set up the lob for him to spike it. So I'm going to go Oklahoma, and I'm going to go with Clemson. And I, too, am thirsty. I'm going to go with Clemson.
Don't you do my girl like that.
I'm going to go with Clemson to win the national title, too. Billy, I want you to empathize with me. I don't want you to...
Hey, man, hold on. Shout out Rosie Perez.
I want you to say...
You're not going to do it like this.
I, too, am thirsty.
Hey.
You're so
stupid, Billy. You're so stupid.
Come back.
All right. Clemson among the ITZers. Let us know who you think will be in the college football playoff, who you think will win the college football playoff championship. Come talk to us on our Twitter page. You can find us at ITZ Sports Show. ITZ as in the zone. We're also on Facebook at ITZ Sports Show. Come and chop it up with us and let us know what you think about anything that's going on in the world of sports. All right, so we mentioned it's week 1 of the college football season. It actually kicked off Friday, the past Friday, I should say, or the prior Friday, with Hawaii and California playing in Australia. Still trying to figure that one out, but, it worked for them. And California won the game to open the season. So let's spin it forward here. We've got Thursday's games that are coming on. We've got Friday's games that are coming on. So we've got some games coming up this weekend, all 3 days for your holiday weekend. Give the 3 games that you will put the remote down for this weekend and not turn the channel. 3 games. We're going to start with Dwayne Sutton.
Well, I got to see things start off. Clemson, first matchup, got Auburn. So, that being said, I'm not turning anything for that. You go directly in order. I want to see the matchup. I want to see Texas take on Notre Dame. I want to see if Texas can actually handle Notre Dame. I want to see how much fight they're going to have in them this year. And then, I'm sorry, I'm picking this game, but not for the reasons y'all think. Florida State, Ole Miss. Homer. Yes, you can say Homer, but I'm actually more curious to see how Ole Miss has revamped. What does Mr. Kelly have left in the tank? What is he going to bring? Because they lost quite a bit, too, as well. Without the big Kim Dichie, not the big one. Fell out the window. But anyway, no, I want to see what Ole Miss has left in the tank because they're trying to get out here and have put that name out there for that SEC title this year. So those are the 3 games I'm gonna keep my eyes locked in on.
Homer. Willie Epting Jr.
OU and Houston, man. UH is a Big 12 wannabe, a lot of speed, a lot of experience. They have dual threat quarterback is what I am trying to say. Greg Ward Jr. Think about what Houston did last year. They went to Louisville and beat the Cardinals. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat the Paxton Lynch-led Memphis Tigers. And speaking of Florida State, they also beat them in the final game last year in the bowl game.
They can style.
Well, and I mean, not really, because I'm going to stay with Florida State because I'm looking forward to them playing against Ole Miss. Like you said, Mr. Kelly threw for 4,000 yards last year, 31 scores. Here's another key stat that not too many people talk about. He also rushed for more than 500 yards and another 10 scores. Florida State, my Heisman Trophy candidate, my Heisman Trophy winner. He's a man-child at running back, Dalvin Cook. I'm looking for at least 1,850 yards from Mr. Cook this year without any injury issues like he had last year with the nagging hamstring. Also, thirdly, say it again.
1850. Don't be scared. Don't call him out. 2,000.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Not gonna happen. And okay. I'll get it said in a minute.
Yeah. Well, it could, but I have a reason why I don't think it will either. All right. Anyway, so finally, USC and Alabama. Hey, I've been saying this for the last few shows, man, especially in the hashtag Brothers of Baseball right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network, going right outside my neighborhood, jumping on 30 and heading west. It's easy for me to say that, especially during this time of year, USC and Alabama. USC comes in. I think they're going to be ranked number 20. Alabama, I'm looking to see what they're going to do at quarterback, who's going to throw the ball. Also want to see who's going to be the predecessor from the likes of Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, TJ Yeldon, and Mr. Henry, Heisman Trophy winner from last year. So I want to see those 3 games. I'm not going to put the remote down for either one of those 3 contests.
All right. I'm going to count them down 3-1. Going to go with Clemson and Auburn. As crazy as this sounds, this may be a make or break year for Gus Malzahn on the Plains in Auburn. Since going to the BCS National Championship game versus Florida State after the 2013 season, the Tigers have not come close to any of the offensive consistency that they had that year. Gone from Auburn's team, guys like Peyton Barber, Ricardo Lewis, Duke Williams. Bashawn White is back as a starter, and he's got a guy in Marcus Davis who's ready to burst out at wide receiver. Free safety Jonathan Ford led the team in tackles last year in 2015, and he, along with returning defensive end Carl Lawson, will look to lead a mostly young defense into battle on the Plains in southern Alabama. Everyone knows that Clemson is highly touted and one of the favorites to make their second straight college football playoff appearance, led by everything, quarterback Deshaun Watson. But I'm going to tell you this. Clemson cannot overlook Auburn in this ACC versus SEC game, one of the 3 games pitting those leagues against each other to open the season. Speaking of ACC versus... Oh, and by the way, I got a guarantee in the Clemson versus Auburn game. My guarantee is the Tigers will win.
Really?
Yeah, the Tigers will win.
That's
all right.
Really? That's pretty funny.
Really?
Speaking of SEC versus ACC, Mississippi versus Florida State in this game will be in Orlando. Rebels fans think that this is their year, with Alabama, the defending national champions and conference champions, looking to fill key positions. LSU's questions at quarterback, and we don't ever know what's going to happen in the SEC East. See Tennessee almost losing to Appalachian State on Thursday. We never know how the SEC East will shake out. This game on Labor Day night is the type of game that the University of Mississippi needs to show the nation that they are ready. After all, since the SEC went to the 2-division format in 1992, Ole Miss is the only team from the original group of 12 that has not made a championship game appearance. How y'all like that research?
That's pretty good.
The only team from that Western Division who has not made it. All right, and the number 1 game I'm looking forward to seeing and not putting the remote down for is Oklahoma versus Houston. And then in this game, it could be either the end of Houston's chance to shock the world and make the college football playoff, or another disappointing loss for the Sooners in the Bob Stoops era. And God knows we've seen our fair share of them. OU is loaded on offense, even with the loss of Sterling Shepard to the NFL. Houston has the returning dual threat, as Willie mentioned, Greg Ward Jr., and a familiar face for Ward to throw the ball to in Chance Allen. Can Bob Stoops and the Sooners defense neutralize Tom Herman's genius offense of the Houston Cougars?
You better watch that matchup, man. Oklahoma has traditionally had trouble with dual threat quarterbacks. Remember what Johnny Manziel did to him a few years ago?
In the Cotton Bowl, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Shredded them alive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have college football back. This offseason can just kind of it zoomed by. It's crazy how quick it zoomed by. But yeah, that's good. I agree. Good. It's real good. Real good. Keep your eyes on that side door just in case I'm transpire. Speaking of the side door, and speaking of our friends, let's toss things over to the greatest fan with Miss Kenji Knox. Miss Kenji, who do you have for us this week?
Hey, what's up, everybody? The greatest fan connects the coolest fans to the hottest celebrities. I am your host, Kenji Knox. We are ready for some football. We got that spotlight on you with SBN Pro Player Spotlight on AURN. We see you. Arizona Cardinals running back Coach Stuck Mitchell, who played running backs for the Citadel. How are you?
I'm great, Kenji. Thanks for having me this morning.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Coach Mitchell, you coach football at Southern University, and you had your own TV show. I was honored to host the greatest fan on the Coach Stuck Mitchell show for Southern University fans. How was your TV experience for the Jaguar Nation?
It was awesome. I had the opportunity to reach out to the community, let them know what I was trying to do in terms of getting Southern University football and academics back in the right place, and the guys that we recruited were able to do that.
And you're known around the game of sports, the game of life with the students, of just being a good guy, just a humble person. Your overall head coach record is 14-42, which includes Arizona Cardinals, Southern University, Washington Redskins, Seattle Seahawks, just to name a few. What is your motivation technique from practice to game day?
The first 2 jobs that I had as a head coach at Morgan State University and Southern University, I took on programs that at that particular point in time was down. I lasted at both of those places as long as God wanted me to be there.
Right.
Improvements were made to improve both of the programs, and the guys that came after me benefited from it. So I was totally happy with that. I moved on from Morgan to the Seattle Seahawks, and I moved on from Southern to Arizona. So it's been great. My motivation is simply to get the guys to go out and be the best that they possibly can. I think the NFL is the ultimate level, it's the top level. I think there are guys that those HBCUs now that can possibly follow the path of many NFL Hall of Famers that participated at HBCUs prior to them. So my thing is not to worry about where you're at, but to go out and perform to the best of your ability, knowing that every day you're competing against someone else. We have 90 guys in the NFL. At this particular time, it's probably the only form of business that will bring in 90 guys to cut about 45. You have to go out and compete every day. Just as people have to go out every day and compete in life.
Well, we see you, Stump Mitchell. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and have a great football season.
Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Pro Player Spotlight. I am Kenji Knox. Are you the greatest fan?
All right, Ms. Knoxby, thank you for that wonderful interview as always. Guys, about 2 minutes left. We're on the 2-minute warning. Final thoughts time. Who wants to go first? Okay. Willie, you go first.
Man, I was going to say you.
I don't want to go first.
All right. Well, let me dedicate this show to our father, Willie Epting Sr. Thursday, September 1st, was his birthday. He turned the ripe old or young age of 34. He is the only person I know that is younger than his oldest kid. So, Dad, you gave me your name and you gave me so much more. Happy birthday. We love you and thank you for all that you have done for us.
Indeed. Dwayne Sutton.
I just want to say it's been an amazing ride. We celebrated 4 years. We're 4 years old, fella, in the Zone Sports. And, not many people believed in us from start, but we're making believers out of them. I love the progress. I love the growth. Again, Captain
El Capitan.
Just want to say thank you, man, for turning your dream into ours, man, and the fact that we can all make it become a reality shows the hard work and dedication, man. It definitely pays off, and this is only the beginning. So please, world, look out in the Zone Sports. We are definitely making big moves, and I want to say thank you again as well to BGC Sports for believing in us.
Echo those same sentiments, Dwayne, and we appreciate that, man. And yeah, we're 4 years old, man. It seems like things just started, and can't wait to see where it all goes in the future. Just real quick, I want to pause and say best wishes and prayers to those affected by Hermine, the hurricane and tropical storm system that has come up through Florida, up through the southeastern United States. We've seen our fair share of floods and tornadoes and fires and all of these natural disasters this year. And just want to let the folks know that in your time of grief and your time of hard-pressed reality, people like us are here to kind of help you take your mind off of things, even if it's just for a little while. And we appreciate all of the love and support that we get from everyone. And, just hope that you continue to believe that the good Lord is not going to put us through things that we can't bear and that we'll always be able to handle. So, God bless everyone out there going through trying times with all of the natural disasters that have been going on in our country. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the End Zone Sports Show here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. To the fellas, Willie and Dwayne, thank y'all so much. To all of the listeners, thank you for believing in us and listening to our show. We're going to step out of here for now, but we'll talk to you again real soon. Football is here, people. Let's watch it this weekend. Take care, God bless, and have a good holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Take care, and we are out.